Hi, I'm Sue Bowler, and today I'm going to show you how to make a confetti-filled deco bubble using ultra high float. So we're going to start off by taking our deco bubble. This is a 24-inch deco bubble. I'm going to use the stylish hearts because it's a design that I've used really for Valentine's Day, and as you can see we're going to use a combination of tissue and foil confetti for this. As with all bubble balloons, we don't take it out of the packet until we're ready to use it because it is a plastic balloon and therefore we need to make sure that it will stretch on inflation. And the reason it will stretch is because inside here, for those of you who haven't seen this, which I'm sure probably you all have, there is a moisture towel, and the purpose of this moisture towel is to keep that balloon nice and moist whilst it's in the packet. So we've finished with that now. So the first thing you're going to do is open up your balloon. And make sure it's completely open. This one's really quite sticky because of the moisture. And we're going to treat it with high float. So we're going to take the nozzle and we're going to put it inside the center of the balloon and just use one pump using the purple measure, which is for an 11-inch balloon, and that works really well for a 24-inch deco bubble. So I'm just going to slide that inside. Now this takes quite a lot of working in once we do it, but let me just do this bit first. To get the nozzle into the center of the balloon, just give it one good pump of that with that measure, and don't put too much high float in, because if you put over and cover it, which gives an easier covering, but then the balloon gets too heavy, so when we put the helium it won't float. If you're doing an air-filled version, then you can put a little bit more in, but this is quite important for a helium-filled version. Just wipe off the excess before you remove the pump to make sure that we don't get any high float going into the neck, and just put your pump back upwards so it doesn't go everywhere. So you can see now it's right in the center of the balloon, and now we have to spread it evenly. So it's not as easy when we're working with a bubble compared to a latex balloon. That's quite easy. This one we've really got to work quite hard to get it to cover the whole of the inside. If you miss any bits, you're not going to get any confetti sticking to that part, so it is worth the effort. I can just feel that there isn't much down at the base, so I'm just going to move that around and make sure I get some there as well. Okay, so now we've done that part, we've covered it nicely. I need to put some helium into this balloon just to open it up, to open up the two layers because they're quite stuck together. If you put air in at this point, you're actually going to add the air into the balloon and it's going to be very difficult to remove. So just use a bit of helium to do this. I'm just going to use a trigger valve and pop that inside the nozzle, like so. Okay, so that's just opened up the bubble for me nicely. So now when I add the confetti, it's got a nice surface to attach to. So to add the confetti, we're just going to use a regular funnel, just a plastic funnel that you can get from a DIY shop. Slide that in. This one works really well because it fits neatly into the neck of a 24-inch. It's not always so easy to get the confetti in, but if you don't try and put too much in at a time, then it can work quite well. Takes a little bit of work. I'm just going to use a straw just to help me push it in. As you can see, it's going in. And once you've got a little bit inside, you can give it a nice shake so it doesn't all stick to the same bit. So you can start to see I can shake that around. So I'm just going to keep doing this until I've got a good coverage of confetti. Just going to fan open the tissue to make sure that it separates nicely when it's in there. Okay. Just put that last bit in. Okay, I can spend a little bit longer doing this, but I just don't want to take too much time. As you can see, you can get a really good spread if you just take a little bit more effort. So I've got quite a good covering in there. I can see it's working quite well, but it's starting to stick together. So I do want to open up the balloon and fill it back up with helium. Okay, so we've now filled up our balloon. You can see we've got a beautiful covering in there. Not everywhere, I've obviously missed a little bit at the back, but to be honest, in the overall picture, it's actually fine. So what we do is we close the deco bubble in the normal way. We're just going to twist that round. I like to twist mine about 4 or 5 times. I'm going to take a scrap of a 260Q, and that's going to really help me to seal that bubble so that it won't go down. And again, I'm going to wrap round there about 3 or 4 times. It's probably easier for me to keep this down here and just keep pulling that round. Okay. Once I've done that, make sure I tie it really nice and tightly. That's 1 and 2. Okay, so I'm now going to take some 5mm ribbon. I'm going to use pink because I want to have use some of the pink element in the design. And tie that on. I'm going to trim off the excess 260Q because obviously we don't need that anymore. And you can even trim off the excess end of the deco bubble too, as long as you don't want to go back to it. So that's nice. Just going to put a little curl in there. And as you can see, it floats really quite nicely. If you look at the one that I prepared earlier, a nice little finishing touch is just to take some satin ribbon, which is just it's like a 5mm satin ribbon, just got a little bit of additional texture, and you can just add a little bow onto that. As again, just remember, just don't add anything too heavy, but this has got great lift. Probably could have taken some more confetti in there easily. It's a bit of trial and error. The more you do it, the more confident you'll become to how much confetti you can use. But it's a great technique, and as I said, it just looks fabulous, and you know it's going to stick and it's going to look great. So there you go. Confetti inside a deco bubble using ultra high float.